Hey Simon friends, welcome to the Joy of Stamping with Rachel. I'm Rachel Kuhn and it's our Wednesday's kit class. Today I'll be using a Sale-a-bration stamp set paired with other items from our annual catalog. Gonna hold while I flip and we'll get started. All right, welcome. I am going early today. I know I shared that I was going to start around 4, and that's my usual time, but it is the time of year that my kids are going back to school, and I might be juggling around our schedules to fix it, to make it work. They're not home when I'm making the lives, and that way they don't have to be quiet when they're home. They get enough being quiet all day at school. So I'm jumping on right now. So if you're watching, that's great. I see you. Oh, Phyllis is here today. Welcome, Phyllis. So glad you're here. For our new friends, let me go ahead and explain how my Wednesday's kit class works and how you can get the kit today for free. So I usually, every Friday, will show you a new kit that I've created. And then when you shop online with the hostess code for the month, I will send you all the paper products to make that kit for free. Usually order $35 worth. I suggest $50 worth during celebration so you can get that free item that I am using today in our video. But you have to make sure you order by Friday in order to get them for free. So this is the sweet spot of ordering from me online is between Wednesday and Friday, and I'll guarantee you that awesome kit. So we are doing celebration today, so let me show you our cards a little bit, and then just where I've been inspired to make these cards. So in the celebration flyer, you'll see that these two look a lot like the ones we're making today. You can see that how they've used the background and they have the bow ties, very similar, just a very small difference. I'll show you those. And then this really fun, sorry, it's out of focus. We'll zoom it out a little bit. This one right here that has this patches of colors, and then they have Christmas trees. I've substituted mine with butterflies. So if you have an idea or you don't have any ideas at all and you need some inspiration, just open up a flyer or a catalog and then change it to what you need it to work. And play with the measurements a little bit as well and make it to a design that you love. This card right here, though, I have to give a shout out to, I wrote her name down so I want to forget, Michelle Pollard, who is a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator who made this fun idea of making ornaments with it. All right, let's go ahead and get started. In fact, we will start with our Christmas one, the Season's Greetings. And before we get too into it, let me show you the products I'm using today on my blog and in the link in the description below. Or if you're watching this on Facebook afterwards, I'll have that in the comments. All of the items you can find over on my blog. So if you're like, what was it she said she used? Go check it out there and you'll have a really easy to read list. All right, so I've used embossing folders. It's one of my favorite ways to embellish, and this is one of our new ones. It's called Merry Melody. You can see it. It has these awesome piano musical notes on it, I would say, and it's just really fun. So that's added texture to that. That will come already pre-embossed in your kit. And then this one's a very basic one. It's called Tasteful Texture, and it's just a great kind of just a simple embossing. So you don't want anything too crazy. You don't want too much attention. You just want texture. This one is my go-to for that. Also for our products, because our stamps that we're using is the textures and frames, and you notice there are no words or any type of holiday or anything in this, which is great because it's a great starting ground to work with. But then you can use whatever you want from the annual catalog or even from the mini catalog to pair with it and make something really fun. So I've paired with the Handsomely Suited dies and stamp set, and I'm using that bow tie right here and also the die that I've cut out for those bows. Yours will not come stamped, so you could finish this one, and I'll show you tips of how to do that. And then lastly, I'm using the penguin place. Because I'm using this cute little one right here, I decided to continue using it for the rest of my cards. So I'm using the Season's Greetings, and I'm also using To the Coolest Friend Ever, and lots of thanks. So all of those came from the Penguin Place stamp set. All right, let's grab the kit for this one right here. these fun little ornaments. And we are using a Misty Moonlight card base. We have an Whisper White for the inside because that's that darker color. We'll need that. Let me show you these little pieces here. These were made, they're balloons. So if I turn it upside down, you can see it a little bit better, where it has like that little spot that you tie off and blow a balloon. But the other way, it totally looks like another ornament. So these are die cut out of the bedazzling Sale-a-bration paper, and we'll use that to help embellish. And did I say that was from a balloon from the Hippo and Friends dies? Isn't that crazy? What a fun little tip how to make those ornaments. All right, here is that Misty Moonlight Emboss, and look at just how gorgeous that is. Super detailed, and you could feel the texture on it. A great, great embossing folder. And then we just have our basic white piece here that we'll use to do our stamping onto. Let me go ahead and glue this down, and then we'll get started with our stamping. And I'm using my liquid glue because that's my favorite type of adhesive for this style of card making. Okay, I'll grab my foam mat right here, and we'll have our scrap paper right here because we're going to be doing some stamping off. Let's grab first that circle. It's kind of like a blotchy circle that we have. It has a really like a fuzzy outline to it even. So it's a fun piece. I like to start with the lightest color though when I'm doing stamping of the same stamp and that I have to keep on washing it. So here's my Blushing Bride, which isn't a very traditional Christmas color, but I really like it with these blues and greens. And we do have some fun Christmas DSP that just came out with the same type of colors. So if you like untraditional, that might be a great paper for you. So I've inked it up, make sure it looks good and everything looks inked. And then I'm going to stamp it off right there. So it's not going to be full on strength. And then just go to my bottom right corner. There we go. While this is out, let me go ahead and stamp the rest of that color, which is going to be our little top handle of our ornament, which is from that penguin place. I think it's supposed to be actually like a shopping bag or something. I don't even know what the intention for this one is, but we're going to stamp that full strength right on top of the circle here. There we go. And then we're going to grab our stripes. In this texture and frames, there's 3 stripes all together, and the ends of each one kind of are just different. They're not nicely like cut off. It's like paint strokes almost. And then we'll keep that on full strength. And you can angle it however you want. If you want it slanted or perfectly straight. I kind of slanted that one just a little bit. So now I just make sure I go ahead and wipe these ones all clean that I just stamped with. So they'll be ready for our next ornament we're making. And we can put this color away. I know I said I like to do light to dark, but I'm actually going to throw in our Misty Moonlight next because I like to work more so from outside, middle, so I can figure out my lineup that way. So we'll open up our Misty Moonlight. We'll ink that up. We're going to stamp it off once, and then we're going to put it down here. So it's going to be not all the way in the bottom like that pink one was, but a little bit higher. Perfect. Grab our little top, ink it, stamp it on there, and then our stripes. I'm going to flip my stripes over this time to be a different look to it. There we go. Super cute. Now we need to wash it again. So I just use a reusable homemade wipe. I call it homemade because it used to be really big and I've cut it down. It's those, I think I can remember the name of it, absorbers. It's a type of fabric that you find in like the car washing section, and it's meant to wash or dry your cars off after you clean them. But I like to just get them damp and use them to wash and to make reusable wipes for my stamps. And they work great because versus a baby wipes have like little fibers that sometimes get attached to your stamps, and then that makes it really hard to have a clean stamped image. So this has no fibers in it. And I can make lots of them out of one. Okay, Misty Moonlight, let's put that one away. And we'll go on to our Just Jade. This is one of my favorite colors. In fact, my nail color today was inspired by this color, the Just Jade. Same thing as our last. We're going to go ahead and ink it up, stamp it off, and then put it over here. I'm going to go off center so it's not quite center and not completely close to either one. There we go. And then we'll make our stripes. Tilt it so it looks like they're hanging, and our little handle. It's up to you if you want your handle to be on top of your ornament or actually in it. So I'm going to do one a little bit on top so you see the difference. Just a preference of where you want it to look like it's hanging from. And then we're going to keep that open so we can use our season's greetings and add our greeting right there to the top left corner. Perfect. Let's close up that ink. And let's grab our scissors. So this is an old technique. It's how you rough up the edges of your paper. You just open up your scissors so they're completely open, and you want to hold it so it doesn't come apart. And you're just going to go ahead and hold onto one end of your paper and rub your scissors along it. And you see how that is just changing my paper and making it rough on the edges. Like I said, this is a very old technique, and usually before or after doing this, people will do sponging on the edges as well. We're just going to keep it that nice crisp white color, but I did want to make our edges to this one a little bit rough, not smooth, and give that little extra texture. And it doesn't take much at all. Just me rubbing it all through, and now look at that. Just a little, it gives it kind of like an extra layer. All right, now that we have that, let's grab our bone folder, which of course is not where I thought it was. Found it. It's always missing. Okay, we're gonna take our bone folder and we're gonna take the corner right of our paper, and I'm gonna just start to do a curl. This is an optional step if you want to have this on yours or not. I think it looks really cool. Just to have a fun little curl to our paper, like that. Sometimes people even put like a peekaboo glitter behind that. Maybe I'll grab a piece so you guys can see what that would look like as well. Okay, so now let's go ahead and attach this to our card front. Oh, and you know what I forgot to do, but I highly suggest doing. I'll do mine later. But for the inside, feel free to carry over the thought of the ornament and stamp it in there as well. And if you have Wink of Stella, I went ahead and put a little bit of Wink of Stella on my top hanger part as well, and the stripes. So just kind of extra things that you can add to your ornaments to make them look even prettier. Okay, so yeah, I forgot to do that one, so I will save that for later, but just know that will go in the inside of our card base. Let's grab this one and some dimensionals. All right, we'll put dimensionals in each corner and one in the center and one underneath this folded piece here. So about there. And I'm at the tail end of this one. I swear you guys always see me when I'm almost out. And so I start using just the ends and cut them, and they work perfect. So I don't like this to be centered. I want to have it tilted just a little bit, like so. Let me grab a piece of that bedazzling paper real quick just to show you what it looked like to have like a little peekaboo right here. Okay, so here's that really gorgeous paper. If you wanted to, we could cut this down, just a little strip of it even. And I would slide that underneath, so it'd be like that. Can you see that? Isn't that really cool? So it makes it look like the whole thing underneath that is that fun bedazzling paper. Let's go ahead and add that just for kicks today, just to change this one up. And because we're using those bedazzling ornaments made from the balloons on the front to embellish, I think that will be a fun added. So I just put a little bit of liquid glue on there, and I'm just lining it up to make it look like there's a piece of paper behind here, and that's what we're unrolling to discover underneath. You see that? Okay, Now we just need to add our cute little ornaments, and you can play with this to figure out your placing. You'll have 3 in your kit, and I like to have some kind of overlapping a little bit, and even some just kind of free hanging. You want to make sure they're kind of different levels, kind of like our ornaments are here. They're not all lined up. We'll just have them spaced, not in a row. We'll put this one right here. Let's add this guy, just a little bit of liquid glue. And this one, we're just going to have it, I don't want to have it so it's hidden underneath there, but we might need to have it go a little bit higher. And slide that one in. Maybe just like that. There we go. All right, grab our bone folder. This part I should have done before, but that's okay. We'll just do it very carefully. Grab our bone folder. I'm going to uncurl that so I don't break it or bend it the wrong way. And then get our score line, and then we'll just roll it back in. There we go. If you want to keep this down and not have it just free floating, you could use a glue dot and continue rolling it if you want. I'm going to just have mine kind of free curled. But look how awesome that looks. Our season's greetings with our ornaments and our great embossing folder right there. Okay, let's go ahead and go on to our next one, which we have. Ooh, should we do the butterfly one? Let's do that one. Let's see if I can find it. There we go. This one right here is just gorgeous. I love the idea of all these colors here. Kind of like that rainbow look to it. And I did switch up the top color from what the catalog had. The catalog just used a real red. I like the Poppy Parade, so that's how I changed that one up as well. And then I have used a punch also for this little label here, and I'm using the silver foil. Our silver foil now has 3 different kinds of silver. Let me show you. All right, I'll get all these items out. So I have our card base. I have that textured piece to put on underneath. And then our die cut items. And I went ahead and already used my basic black, and I embossed with silver the lots of things on there. So that one's already ready to go as well. So let me show you our silver pieces here. These are really shiny, so sometimes they're hard to show on camera without getting lots of glare. Look at that. Oh my goodness. 3 different shades of silver. And I've made 1 on each butterfly for you guys. Super pretty, right? Okay. Let's go ahead and set our pieces aside, and let's do our stamping for this one. Again, all these measurements will be over on my blog and the list of inks as well. I'll tell them to each of you as I go along though, so don't worry. All right, for the tip for this one is that I like to start with my top and bottom color, and then I'll go to my next colors, 2 colors there, and I save my very last color for the middle, for the very end. This helps me with my spacing. Spacing can be tricky, and so the way to figure it out is to start from the top or bottom first. All right, so Pool Party will be our bottom color. And we're using that really cool, looks like a brush stroke almost, of that stamp from the Textures and Frames. Let's go ahead and ink that up. And try to get, oops, see, good thing that's photopolymer. I can see that that was not inked well. That looks better. I'm going to go ahead and go center as much as I can. If you want, you can always mark it with a pencil and then erase it to make sure you are center. And stamp it down. Grab our white to clean that one off. And then I like to tap off if I think it's still wet too much. And we'll go to the next color, which is the Poppy Parade. Color. See, look how bright and like awesome of a red this one is. It's not as dark as the real red, and definitely not as dark as the Cherry Cobbler, but it just has a nice bright feel to it. And on this one, you'll see a top and a bottom, or a difference where the strokes are on here. So you can pick if you want to flip them or keep them all going the same stroke. Totally up to you. I think I did some flipping on my first one. Let's see what it looks like if I keep them all going the same stroke. Okay, that looks about center. And lift. Awesome. Wipe it clean and tap it off, the extra wet. Okay, I'll close up that ink. And next we'll go to our petal pink for one right below it. Ink that one up. And go just about 1/8 maybe of a space in between. It's not a huge space. Oh, and look, I had ink on my block and it transferred over. But that's okay. That's about where we're going to cover up with our label. So I think that'll be just fine. We'll put this ink away and go on to our shaded spruce, which is this beautiful dark green. One of my goals a couple years ago, and it was right before, or maybe it was right after we had a color refresh. I wanted to get all of the inks. And it was one of those things that took me months. Each month I got 2 or 3 ink colors because I didn't want to have that be the only thing I bought. So little by little, I built up my color collection, and now I have every single color in my inks and every single color in my paper as well. Again, like I said, it did not happen overnight. I did not buy all of it at once. Just kind of build as you grow. All right, this is awesome looking. The last color is our Bumblebee, which is a very dark yellow, almost like a mustard. We'll ink this one up. And I typically do not like Bumblebee. I feel like it is a very dark yellow, and I prefer either Crushed Curry or Daffodil Delight as my yellows of choice. But this one looked really great with this palette. And as the ink dries, it takes on a different form too. So it always inks a lot darker when you first stamp it. Don't worry, it will dry. Okay, so there is that awesome piece. Looks like someone's practicing or figuring out what color they want on their wall, right? What a fun idea, though, to use to add color to a card and to make it look really fresh. Okay, let's grab our other pieces in, and we will start attaching. We're going to take our basic, this color here, our white here, and we're going to attach it to this white. I'm going to use just a little bit, and I'm just using adhesive, no dimensionals for this part. And we're going to go to the bottom and give myself just a tiny border on each side. I have this measuring the same height, but different width, so that way my texture you can see on the both sides of it. Flip it over. This would be a fine one to use some liquid glue because it is textured. Even though it's breaking my glue on basic white rule, I usually don't like using basic white with liquid glue because you can see the lines, the glue lines. And that's just not my favorite. Okay, now let's go ahead and add our lots of things by using some mini dimensionals. We're doing good on time, so I have one more card to do and about 15 minutes until I need to go school pickup. I have one kid in school right now, and the rest start next week. So they're super, I don't know if they're excited or sad. It's mixed feelings. After last year, we're not sure what we think. Okay, so I can have this one go right about here, and it actually would cover up my oops moment. And this one I had it going just to that white part. This one I'm having going to all the way to this far end. So it's just up to you how you want to place it. Then we will need some glue dots for our beautiful butterflies. Let me see if I have them up on my, near me. Oh, I don't know. One second as I look around. They're in a little box. We are on the floor. It's not too far. So we're going to take 3 glue dots, rip it off. So it's easier to use. You can keep it on the spool, but it's easier for me to use it this way. Let's go ahead and start with our biggest butterfly first. Put a glue dot to the center of it, where the big body part is at least. And then kind of bend up the wings before we do it. There we go. And put it right about there. Oh my goodness. These butterflies are so beautiful. I don't think I mentioned that. These are from the Butterfly Brilliance dies. And they're just these gorgeous, gorgeous butterflies here. Look at this one. That's kind of more of like a purpley silver. It's really pretty. Look at that in the bottom corner here. And this darker silver, I guess this is more medium. I feel like that's the darkest one there. Bend up the wings a little bit and set her to fly here. Oh my goodness, I love it. But we're not done yet. I have to do one last thing to this one. I should have creased it already. That's okay. We'll be careful. Let's grab your wink of Stella. So I have on this one, see if you can see it closely, little glitter spots. And the way to get those like splatter look to it is that we can use our wink of Stella. So let me take off our lid carefully. Sometimes I twist it off. There we go. So pull off and not a twist. There's a push right here, so we'll push out a little bit of the wink of Stella. My tip looks like it has a good amount too. We're going to take our bone folder in and we're going to go over our card and start doing some taps. If you need to get a little bit more out, you just push a little bit more. Push and flick at the same time. There we go. And just be very random. Just kind of all over. There's no rhyme or reason to this one. But it looks super cool. And get it up there. So those still have to dry a little bit, so I'll be careful. But look at those random splats of glitter. Just makes it look very artistic. We even got some on there. There are lots of banks, so that's really fun too. All right, I'm going to carefully fold this one. We'll do it from the front side. And there we go. Two beautiful, lots of thanks cards using our texture and frames for that main coloring image in the center. Ooh, I love that one. All right. Last one is more masculine today. And when I say masculine, I actually mean more like a tween boy. It has these cute little bow ties for our center. I'm using the To the Coolest Friend Ever, which came from the Penguin Place. And I have our stamped bows. These bows, however, use the same color. Which you're wondering, how did that work? Because those look like they're the color of the paper they're on, right? Right. I used a Versamark to stamp onto these ones. So the same color, which is clear. So it takes up any color that I stamp it with the Versamark. So if you don't have lots of ink colors yet, like you haven't built up your supply like I have, then you can use the clear ink instead and just stamp it onto the paper and it will take the color that you're stamping it onto. It's a great, great way to change it, but not having, when you don't have it all yet. Because I know we want it all, but it's okay if we don't have it all yet. So there's these little secrets and tips of how to do it. All right, let's grab our pieces for this one. And if you get this kit and you don't have that handsomely suited stamp set yet, there are other ways that you can use your bow tie. So this one I've embossed, and I have a little center one as well. So if you have embossing folders and you get bow ties and you don't have the stamp set for it, just go ahead and emboss it and give lots of different textures that way. So let me show you. That would look like that instead on it. So that's pretty cool. Or we have, I dumped these all out, sorry. We'll get those out for you. Another extra one. So this one's just plain right here. And I haven't stamped on this one at all or even embossed this one. But what we could do, let me grab my scrap paper, is take just another stamp and make a texture or image on there. So I have in this one these really cool splotches. I'm going to go ahead and try stamping that on this tie and see how it turns out. Because that could be fun, right? So this is just another idea for you how to make your bow tie, either with an embossing folder to change it up if you don't have that stamp set, or you can even use another inks on it. So this one I'm using, oh, that's kind of cool. That's actually really cool. I'm again using that clear ink. So it doesn't matter what color I'm stamping on this one. Oh, that is way cool. Look at that. Like a splotchy tie. I love it. I'll also send with these ones the little centers. So you guys can glue those on as well. And to change up the look of yours. Perfect. Okay. So there are some extra ideas for you. Let's keep that one out because we're going to stamp real quick our little saying and our Misty Moonlight. You put this color away. The colors that I use for our bow ties here are the Just Jade, Misty, Moonlight, and Pool Party, which is the same color as our card base. To the coolest friend, we'll find that ever. Don't forget the ever. Go ahead and ink that up. And our Misty Moonlight. And I'm going to use just this bottom line here to stamp it onto, because we're going to cut this one out. So you'll just get a nice scrap piece like this. And then you can either cut it so this one's at an angle. I did that for this one. I'll keep this one straight. So we'll do a straight cut, and then we'll just cut the top of this. There we go. There's our saying right there, ready to go. We'll move these aside, and we need to close up this ink and grab our Pool Party. So the next part is actually using the lines from earlier. I didn't clean it, so make sure it's clean and ready to go. There we go. And we're going to take our Pool Party piece and stamp this. Make sure you guys can see everything. We're making kind of like these crisscross looks to it. I'm actually going to throw my pad underneath so that my grid paper can be my scratch paper too. There we go. Because I will stamp off because I want them to have, looks like it's continuing on. Okay. I think we're ready now. Super easy. We're just making a background. So we'll ink it up. You can start either up or down. I like to start in that corner and then flip it about 90 degrees to make your crisscross. Have some going off on the top, so not fully on there. Kind of looks like a waffle pattern if it's not crisscross. It's more than tic-tac-toe, so I can't call it tic-tac-toe. Has more spots on there. But we're just going to keep on going until we fill up the space here. So we'll have a little bit of these unfinished ends on the side. You could totally leave the center blank if you wanted to, and that wouldn't matter because we'll kind of cover that part up. The goal is just to not have anything really aligned to each other. So they're not going to be, like this is lower than that one, and that one's not going to be lined up. We'll have that one going right here. And we'll do one more halfy on this side maybe. Okay, for some of these parts, we can go ahead and stamp off and add some more, but just have it the lighter color. Kind of like filler space. Oh, make sure that one's stamped off nice. And these ones that are stamped off, you can even have touching our other crisscrosses. See how awesome that looks? Stamp off. I'll this one go about right there. Just kind of filling in that space and creating a really cool background. Look at that. Love it. I might add one more stamp off one to this top corner real quick. We'll go right there. Stamp off. And there we go. Perfect. And that's it. Super easy, great background. And we can do this in any color on any card base and to make it suited for any gender or their favorite color at that. All right, let's go and flip that over and glue it on. Then we're going to take these two pieces and just glue them together. Those are our basic white with our smoky slate. And just a very tiny border on there. Go and flip that over and we can add dimensionals to the back. Probably about 5 would be good. One in the center, one in each corner. for this size. And the next step with the bow ties is up to you if you want those in dimensionals or if you want to keep those just at regular height, glued height. I'm going to go ahead and do, let's see, I think I'll just glue them. Well, I don't know. I didn't glue them last time. Should we use dimensionals this time? Let's use dimensionals, just so you can see what the difference is. We'll flip them over, and I'm going to put 2 mini dimensionals on both of the ends. And just like we did on our color swatched one, I'm going to start from the top or the bottom and leave my center one for the last. So we'll put this one on the bottom, and that's just to help with spacing. We have that one. Put this one up here. Oh, I do kind of like with the dimensionals. That makes it a little bit more fun. Okay. So the difference then for this one is that we make sure that when we glue on our To the Coolest Friend Ever, we don't put glue all the way to the end. So just do Coolest Friend with glue, because that will be in the middle. Attach that right there. Oh, I love it. Grab our bone folder and carefully get that on our score line. Love it. There we go, To the Coolest Friend Ever, with that great background and those super cute bow ties. So we have that one, and we also have our fun butterfly one with our color swatches and that silver foil. Love that one. And lastly, we have our Christmas one using it for our ornaments, and that awesome Merry Melody embossing folder. All right, you guys, I hope you've learned something new and found some tips to enjoy. And if you are a customer, please shop with me between now and Friday to get this kit for free. You don't want to miss out, because this one is one of my favorites of the month. I hope you guys have a great week, and happy stamping, everyone. Goodbye.